News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks. Israel confirms it struck Hamas militants in southern Gaza today after they shot at Israeli soldiers who were inside the area that's still under Israeli control. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's directed the military to take strong action against any ceasefire violations, but did not threaten to return to war. The attacks followed an urgent memo from the U.S. State Department saying it had credible threats that Hamas was planning an attack on Palestinians. Meantime, aid groups say they're having trouble getting into Gaza due to Israel's continued restrictions. United Nations Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher says they need to be lifted.
We need an avalanche of aid over the weeks ahead. We need to ensure this overwhelming amount of support comes in.
Israel said it did plan to open more border crossings once the bodies of all remaining hostages were returned by Hamas, including Rafah's entry in Egypt. Those reopenings now remain unclear. President Trump says he's cutting off U.S. aid to Colombia and accused its president, Gustavo Petro, of being an illegal drug dealer. Colombia has been among the biggest recipients of U.S. aid this century, receiving about $14 billion, including military assistance to battle drug cartels. Organizers say more than 7 million people showed up for No Kings events nationwide Saturday. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders spoke to a crowd in D.C.
Millions of Americans are coming out today not because they hate America. We're here because we love America.
Sanders had been responding to Republicans who'd called the protest Hate America rallies. House Speaker Mike Johnson slammed it all as a big stunt.
We have video and photos of pretty violent rhetoric, calling out the president, saying fascists must die and all the rest. I mean, I don't think that's loving speech.
Johnson on ABC's This Week. In California, Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth countered No Kings Day by shutting down a 17-mile stretch of I-5 to celebrate the Marines' 250th anniversary.
When other parts of the department wanted to go woke, the Marine Corps stood strong.
Federal officials wanted to keep the freeway open, but the state shut it down, saying a live fire exercise would put too many drivers at risk. 7 minutes. That's how long officials in France say it took thieves to break into the Louvre this morning and pull off a brazen jewel heist. This happened in broad daylight as the museum was opening up for the day. France's interior minister says the thieves cut through a window and used a basket lift, a cherry picker, to slip inside, smash display cases, and then they took off on motorbikes with what's believed to be French crown jewels that once belonged to Napoleon and his successors. The Louvre has a long history of thefts and attempted robberies. It's still taking inventory on what was stolen this time. On Tuesday, Netflix will open its third quarter books, and the streaming giant could see significant growth, especially with sleeper hits like K-pop Demon Hunters. Geetha Ranganathan is a senior U.S. media analyst with Bloomberg Intelligence.
This was absolutely monstrous, huge. So we just saw 500 million viewing hours just in the third quarter alone. I think by the end of this year, we're probably going to see about 1 billion hours. This is their biggest movie of all time on their service.
Geetha Ranganathan with Bloomberg Intelligence. She says Netflix typically doesn't disclose subscriber numbers, but the streamer could issue revenue guidance and step up advertising investments for 2026. Microsoft will end free security support for Windows 10 this week, and it's pushing consumers to upgrade to Windows 11. But millions are still using 10, and consumer advocates have spent months petitioning Microsoft to extend its support for devices. In some cases, they say Windows 11 requires users to buy a whole new computer. At the Vatican today, Pope Leo canonized 7 new saints, including a Venezuelan doctor known as the Doctor of the Poor. It's the Caribbean nation's first saint, and thousands of Venezuelans were in attendance in Rome. Those who couldn't make it got to celebrate from Caracas. The Vatican live-streamed it. And the Seattle Mariners could make history tonight and punch their ticket to the World Series for the first time ever. They lead the Toronto Blue Jays 3-2 in the AL Championship Series. Game 6 gets started around 8 p.m. Eastern. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.